I'm going to tell you something really strange. The Vikings are one of the reasons why the Crusades happened. You're like, wait, why? So the Vikings were Germans. They were the Germans who settled Scandinavia. Scandinavia was kind of like the worst piece of real estate in Europe at the time. It was the garbage piece that nobody wanted to go to. In other words, the people who became the Vikings, they never called themselves Viking. Viking is a term we've retroactively put on top of them. The Vikings, I'm going to use the term Viking anyway though. The Vikings got stuck with this piece of real estate where you really couldn't grow a crop. So pretty much all you could do was raise cattle and go fishing. And at some point, their population had reached a threshold. They had sort of reached the carrying capacity of cheese rolls and dried fish. And when that happened, they had no choice but to start looking for alternatives. They took two approaches, by the way. One approach the Vikings did was they set out to start trading. They thought, you know what, we can fix our problem if we can do trade because we'll have the money to buy the food that we need. And the Eastern Vikings, the Swedes, got so into this, they actually started trying to figure out where they could go to, and they started reading their sagas. This is the 8th century. They're not reading their sagas, they were oral histories. They were listening to their sagas. And the sagas told the Vikings that the place the Germans were from was Iran. By the way, Iran, which is where we get the word German, because G and K, when languages change over time, are interchangeable. The sagas tell the Vikings, you're originally from Persia, so the Swedes go, wow, that's an idea, let's go, let's see what we can find. And so what they would do is they would go to what is today Latvia, they would take their long ships up the Dvina River, they'd go as far inland as you could get, pretty close to the city of Rzhev. They would pull their ships out of the water, fully loaded, because they have to carry their supplies. They can't leave their supplies behind. So they would carry these fully loaded ships over land until they got to the Volga River, and then they put the ship in the Volga River and they sailed the Volga River all the way to the Caspian Sea, and they went down the Caspian Sea to the Persian coast, and they're like, hi! And the Arabs had just conquered Persia a couple of centuries earlier, and they were walking around Persia going, what is all this? You have modern agriculture and modern medicine, and you're doing philosophy, and you've invented zero, and you're doing algebra. And the Vikings are like, we don't even have a written language. We shouldn't have left, we could have had this. And they began trading. Now, to supplement their trading on that long trade route, they would also raid, and they would attack the Slavic populations along the way, and they would take some for slaves, and then they would sell them into the slave markets, make a little bit of extra coin.